dark colored motherfucking engines, the organic to the land, just so happen to speak the truth regardless of who got pissed off, and tell you motherfuckers why this shit was over, how it was over, who did the dirt, what dirt they was doing, what was their agreements, showed you the agreements, the bloody blood oaths of the papacy, and all that shit. And motherfuckers want to continuously try to talk down about Rod Hayes. He don't know what he talking about. Michael Jackson is whatever the fuck. But they never check my receipts. Why y'all ain't check my receipts? You never check my receipts. But you say I don't got no receipts. I got all the receipts. But you say I don't got no receipts. When I told y'all about the $1 trillion buyback program, now y'all wonder why BlackRock buying up everything. Y'all wondering why Vanguard buying up everything. But y'all don't check my receipts. Rod don't know what he's talking about. You know, you can take damn near a photograph for every sentence I say to show exactly what the fuck I'm saying. I'm reading real time like a fucking tarot card reading. I'm showing you motherfuckers. Big Mama not playing. She said these weather anomalies. Stop looking for niggas with bombs. Start looking for rain and thunder and gorilla hailstorms and crooked man walking the land and walking lightning. And you motherfuckers seeing the shit, still not cashing. Y'all still not checking the receipt. I say when these women start shaking their hips, talking to Big Mama, Mother Earth, she gonna start shaking the earth because she's gonna answer back. Y'all thought I was joking, and it was earthquakes everywhere. But y'all didn't check my receipts. The sister of the high priestess, Christine Vargas, did the same thing. But they talk about her, but they don't check her receipts. Nobody's checking the receipts. That's why I tell y'all don't take sides with the person. Take sides with the receipts. Right? Because this shit is like a violin. This shit resonate with motherfuckers because it's true. Your heart is naturally geared to resonate with the truth. But the naysayers come in and have you second guessing yourself. But if you check the receipt, the music continuously soothes. It's the atone, atonement, at oneness with the self. Because in order to be one with mankind, you got to be one with the self. In order to be one with the self, you got to be one with the universe, as above, so below. In order to be a subject to God, you got to be a servant to God. In order to be a servant to God, you got to have the capability to become aware and understand godly things. And if you understand godly things, then you are a God body, God in a body. And if you are God in a body, that means that your manifestation skills is based upon your awareness of what you manifested. I keep telling y'all tomorrow night here because we ain't created it yet. Right? All of this shit is an illusion that we constantly creating in real time as a unified agreement. Right now, we trying to get from hell to heaven, so to speak. Fifth out of the third dimension to the fifth dimension, so to speak. We trying to exit poverty and inner wealth, and motherfuckers still want to argue about dogma, never knowing what the teacher was teaching because they thought they was listening, but they was just overhearing shit. Right? And they thought that I was just overhearing shit, but I was actually listening. I was putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And they was rearranging the puzzle pieces, wondering why they don't fit. Right? So, at this point, this shit a wrap. This the motherfucker y'all share. Invite any more to answer these questions and show me who claimed the contract when it was up. You had 7 days to claim the contract, or else it was going to be an extension. Right? So to kill the extension, what we do? Can y'all tell me? I just showed you what I did 2 days after the contract was up. There's nobody else can tell you that they asserted the de jure jurisdiction over the de facto corporation to close down that game. None of them. So, I did everything that was supposed to be done. I showed y'all what needed is phalanx together in the same general format. So the music and the language, the words, go together to alter the psychology in order to change the way the mind receives and expels information in the cyclic formula.
Right.
And when you wake up the neocortex and the endocortex and the reptilian brain simultaneously, this gives you what you call higher levels of consciousness that require the three parts to work together as a whole. So now we call that holistic thinking, when you're using the whole brain to think.
Right.
Right. So it's holistic thinking versus how they giving us homogenized thinking, which has been sanitized to only allow you to believe that you was a slave.
It's just like homogeneity.
Say it again.
That's like the word that describes that to a certain extent is homogeneity.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So when we get back to language, the reason why Nuwapic is going to be the new language is because it was created with the thought in mind that we don't want to be subjugated no more and that we have to change our thinking. And one of the things they took from us was our organic languages, the language we already spoke. So if they took our languages, the best thing to do is to reformulate a language based on the principles of linguistics that'll allow us to be born thinking at a higher level, because it starts in the womb. That's why they have fetal psychology, because they want to catch the child in the womb and fuck up his thought patterns as early as possible.
So is that relative to the pronunciation of the words in Nuwapic and the meanings of the words? Because I noticed that all my years in teaching Nuwapic, I'm looking at the psychology of the language is very different from like the English language. It's very different insofar as to say there is specific things, like when we're pointing out things in nature or natural phenomena, Nuwapic gives us the ability to define things in a way that in English they do not define it that way.
Yeah, well, look, phonetics is the pronunciation, and the pronunciation is tied into how the mouth is used to push the word out into the environment. What part of the tongue is used? What part of when are you using the roof of the mouth versus the back of the throat? All these are micro studies in understanding linguistics, right? Because we all know that the mouth does something different when you speak Arabic than when you speak English. The Semitic languages rely more on the back of the throat, where the modern English languages rely on the lips and the roof of the mouth. So you get a whole different effect off the language, right? And one of the things that make Baba qualified to even produce a language is the amount of languages he speaks, because he's thinking with multiple parts of the brain simultaneously in different languages. So you know what the word in this language does this, so I'm gonna put this word in my language, right? Or this sound. It goes to the music. Different instruments affect different chakras.
It sure does, because it sparks different emotions.
Right. And it's the same with the words. The words is based on the sounds. The sounds instruments is based on the sound. Right. So the drum not gonna get the same effect as the piano. Though you can get a similar effect if you know how to use them skillfully. The guitar is not gonna get the same effect as the saxophone. But you can get a similar effect if you can use them skillfully. We're trying to make a language. When you talk about making a language, you're trying to get people to not have the skill, but have the effect. So you create the language, you redefine the language, he who defines rules. You write the rules to the language, you write the rules that we all abide. So if you write a language that's rooted in righteousness and you're trying to overcome, divide, and conquer, you're writing what you call a universal language. If you're trying to write a language that is specific to a specific group in a specific geography, and it's no longer become a universal language, and there's no longer righteousness attached to it, it's an agenda come with it.
Right.
The Arab don't want the same thing out of life as Eskimo.
That's correct. So how does language affect us? Like, okay, so let's just go here with it. So I've been teaching the Nuwapic for a amount of years. And during my little journey, I noticed that more people were into the information of Nuwabu than actual Nuwabic. And they pretty much thought that matter of fact, we just had a conversation, and Brother Love was speaking with his sister the other day. They think that they have to have the scrolls or the Nuwabu as a prerequisite to get, new people into the journey or on the path without language. And what the Brother Love has been actually advising me of is, no, that's not true. The language is what's going to actually take us to the fifth dimension. What's your take on that?
I kind of agree with Brother Love, because the most of us became familiar with the language through studying the scrolls. Now, Nuwapic wasn't privy to the public in the 80s, but Baba was still putting information out since the 60s.
Right.
Right. Now, in the 90s, Nuwapic comes with the transition from Ansarullah to HTM.
Right.
Right. So the timing was critical. If you really look at it, if you want to get more depth into the history correlation of the production of the language to the masses, that didn't come to the forefront until after the Million Man March.
Right.
Right.
That's
now,
true.
Because of the events of the Nation of Islam with this Million Man March, he have to put the language out. Because what was done at the Million Man March, that level of unified energy of varying different tribal bloodlines converging on a central location, that was basically serving the corporation an eviction notice and giving them the notice that we about to take our shit back. Y'all got a certain amount of time to get the fuck on.
Okay.
And so the language has to now be forthcoming. You have to produce the language now. We have to put the language out for anybody that is a diligent student to learn it. Right? Because now, in order for us to take things to a higher frequency, we have to speak a language that's coming from a higher frequency. That was the purpose of it. That's the timing of it.
I was told recently that by a sister that, which she's changed her perspective, but I'm still going to put it out there, that all of the people who are promoting that we should teach people Nuwabic over Nuwabu is all men and not women. But then I guess she must have spoke with the sister, and the sister pretty much fell in line with it. Why aren't there the divine feminines promoting the language as more primary or as a prerequisite as opposed to Nuwabu?
Well, from my understanding, Nuwabu, Baba has some sisters actually penning the language with him.
Right.
But if you look at the sound right reason in Nuwapu, it's linear left brain. And we're in a linear left brain society. So when you're talking about language, you're talking about right brain abstract. And the women will come online with it when they are introduced to it and they understand it. Most of them are being taught more about the sciences of Nuwapu than they being taught about the linguistics of Nuwapic. So they know this. If they don't know nothing else, they know this. If you keep being a damn fool, you're going to keep being fooled by the damn fools that's fooling you. That's what they know. So when they pushing the Nuwabu and they're not really focused on the languages, they already know that if you get enough of this Nuwabu, you're going to gravitate to the language. The women instinctively know that. They know as long as you can't be fooled, you're going to be instinctively drawn to learn the language. It's going to happen.
You think that's something that'll come naturally?
It has to. You can't study Nuwapu and not be drawn to Nuwapu. And it's the other way around too. Once you learn the language, the language is going to make you automatically use Nuwapu. So it's going from now you having to consciously use Nuwapu to talk to somebody to it being a subconscious function by knowing the language. You're tapping into a different level of understanding now. Or
right. Because like growing up in the Ansar Allah community, Pops always wanted us to focus on the language. The information was more for the outside world.
Yeah, because he knew once y'all got a grasp of the languages, the more definitions you know, the less likely you are to be deceived. Why you think all of his text, he didn't just give you the information, he showed you the transliteration, the translation, and then he told you what it really means versus the implied meaning. A lot of translation get lost with the implication of the native speaker not being able to be carried over the literal word of the translator.
So
it's like little ways that in Leo talk that you could, like for instance, Psalms 91, Psalms 119. One is in Leo, one is in Key. You can feel the difference in them when you read the verses.
Yeah, you can, because there's two different tones, two different vibrations.
Now, a person that doesn't know enough to distinguish that will be trapped.
Why is that?
Because they can't tell that these are two different people. They think it's the same one God from Genesis to Revelation. They don't know that it's a pantheon of individuals jumping around playing shuffle me up to try to hide which one is who. They had a steady one-upmanship of trying to get. Enlil thing is he want all of the hearts of the people to be focused on him as Yahweh or Jehovah. Inky thing is he wants you to know that on your inner self, and what's encoded in you through the Anunnaki DNA is higher awareness and ascension abilities. Enlil don't want you to ascend because you won't have to worship a God outside yourself. As long as he compels you to worship a God outside yourself, he can subjugate you. Inky is telling his people, which was the sign and the Zulu, don't listen to that bullshit. Listen to what your inner self tell you, because prime sources speak through you through the ether, the nine ether. Activate the nine ether and subjugate the chaos and use it to your greatest advantage. Enlil don't want that.
Can you go into Anu versus non-ether and El Kalum? Because even though Anu is called the Most High, and I understand it, people think that Anu created the universe, but that's not so.
Well, Anu won his throne in hand-to-hand combat against Iliu. So that tells you he wasn't the prime creator. His position is the executive leader of the Galactic Council. That's what makes him the Most High. Out of all of the males on the Galactic Council, he's most loved, most respected. And when he got trapped down here, when Enlil made his bid for power on Earth, he tried to take Earth from Enki and Inanna. Inanna is a title, not a name. So when he made his move for the throne, Anu had already told him Earth is a mitochondrial planet and women rule first. He didn't like that, and that's what caused all of this chaos we see now between patriarchy and matriarchy, was the works of Enlil trying to push the patriarchal agenda on a matriarchal planet, and it caused the chaos we see, the disruption. Everything is going against the natural order. The natural order of Earth is matriarchal, right? I don't personally give a damn about either one of them. I want the power to go where the power belongs, because then the machine run the way the machine is supposed to.
Absolutely.
And if the machine run the way that it's supposed to, Earth is heavy.
So let's elaborate a little bit on the matriarchal society or the matriarchal rulership, and why brothers are not really in tune with
let me touch on Anu a little bit more, because a lot of people are like, why don't you talk more about Anu?
Well, yeah, please do. Go ahead.
Anu is like the old man sitting at Big Mama house on the porch that she married to.
Yeah.
He don't give a fuck what nobody do. As long as Big Mama not upset, he cool. When Big Mama get upset, then he gonna send all of them boys that's working out in the barn and in the field to go into town and find out why Big Mama not happy. That's where we at right now. Right. All of the masters in the history of Earth is reincarnated at the close of the age to close out any remaining or residual conjures in order, because you can't close the age and open a new age with the same old clothes on.
Right.
Right. So all that stuff had to be cleaned up. And Anu is the one who sanctions it at the end. Clean it up. She said, Big Mama said, clean it up, clean it up. And then he say, well, Enlil started this shit trying to overthrow Enki. So then who is the next heir in line? And they came to Tahuti, or what they call in the text, Dinagajita.
Nengizita, yeah.
Yep. So his turn comes on as the